forced into a wealthy marriage. Not only has a domineering patriarch, constantly causes trouble, unpredictable mayor, showing misunderstandings. Outside the family, rivals and love frequently come to provoke. The girl grows no heed to any of this. Her family remains safe and sound. But when her husband meets with a romantic route, she willingly helps cover for them. Not for Love is now updated. Intrigue continues in this episode. Chenji brews a pot of tea for Yarn, coldly stating, "Don't waste your time on me. Oh, indebted to you. We were meant to be together. Been together long ago. We're clear and straightforward. Believer would surely understand. You know my situation well. I'm a married man now. If you keep coming to my house looking for me, it's not good for you, me, or her. Anything urgent in the future, call the landline at home." That her. Clenches her fists. Pale. Is it Gurunra? Chenji merely glances at her. Bonds. Shakes her head, teary for no. Chenji wasn't like that. You said you liked me. How could you only feel indebted? You saved my father's company for acquired Senna Group for me. Fled on our wedding night to meet me at Yemen Villa. I never said I liked you. This is all your self-deception. When your father's come to repay his past kindness to me. Acquiring Senna was planned a year ago. Leave on the wedding night wasn't Kavyu. That's not true. That night you clearly admitted you liked me. You love. Breaks into loud sobs in the Jang household. States I never engaged drunkards in conversation. He was drunk that night. Was not indulgence at all. Silent knowledge of his affection. With intoxicated people. A smudged eyeshadow revealed tears. And you stood up. Heat outside. You should head back. Ascended through the window. The still sobbing woman on the balcony, letting out a soft sigh. Upstairs expressionlessly, prizes return. Back so weren't you on a date? Were you back already? Zhang Chenji shot her a warning glare, rolling her eyes at me again. Big rolling eyes. Ranran muttered behind his back. Wei returned home to the courtyard, spotting her tearful friend on the terrace immediately. She hurried over. What's wrong? Seeing Wei Hua, Tier's sister-in-law. You're back. Why are you crying? Who upset you? Covered face. Relaying Zhang Chenji's harsh words. Sister-in-law. Don't mention it. Was it Guran? Here, I'll confront her. I stood abruptly. Words Ranran's and grabbed her arm. Please don't. Just remembered. They're visiting her family today. Probably not home. Well, paused, reconsidering. Always blaming Renren first. Before introspection completed, Yun deliberately missiled her. But she has returned. I saw him earlier. Seriously, that little upstart dared bully you? I'll hide him at the title of Mrs. Zhang. Completely arrogant. Lao don't go confront her on my count. Want to be trifled with? Plans to. Guyonner stammered hesitantly. Avoided Waiawa's gaze. What is she to do? Demanded angrily. Guyonner swallowed nervously, buttering up Uncle Jiang. Even said she should be the true lady of the Zhang household. Also said, are too narrow-minded. The Zhang family affair. Wei Hua clenched her fists. Is this true? I told you this, sis-in-law. Poison uncle's mind against me. I won't be able to visit you anymore. Seeing Wei Hua's anger hadn't yet reached its peak, she deliberately added, you speak frankly. I shouldn't remain close to the Zhang family. Take your authority over the household. Shows her true name. This makes it clear she'll never allow you in Zhang Sumu. Shares in Zhang Corporation. Gaia knew Wei Hua's weakness. Having been friends for years, should Wei Hua's greatest fear was gyration's rapid growth under Zhang Chenji's leadership, with veteran employees being replaced by Zhang Chenji's own people. The day when Chenji monopolizes the corporation, leaving no place for Jiang Sumu, Yar intentionally shared this with Wei Hua to drive a wedge between her and Guanran. Corporation belongs to the Zhang family. Though I love Chen, I'm not without principles. Both Chenju and eldest brother their shares, and Jiangsu is the eldest grandson, should rightful portion. But now with her presence, been warned sis-in-law, invitation, family in, must be extremely cautious at home. Deliberate provocation, tears stay. With feigned grievance, expression changed completely. Her tearful eyes now brimmed with sinister malice. To disrupt the Zhang family. Petrol turmoil is to expel Guanran, made us by the Zhang family. Old Su Zhang will regret choosing Guanran, Li drive her way. During dinner that evening, Wei began speaking with sarcasm. Let me share some amusement. Day when Mrs. Chen and I went out, two dogs of vastly different status. A duller pedigree dog. Covered in fleas, reeking of filth, after washing, sat beside Zhang Chenyi. Wei's next remarks, Mrs. Shen's prized dog, during the out, so the servant fed it premium dog food. It was such, like true nobility. The Manjimot witnessed this, and tried to imitate the pedigree dog, but lacking proper food. What could he? Some excrement on the road, and mimicked the poodle by eating that filth. First I thought nothing of it, but watching that pathetic imitation, suddenly reminded me of someone. How hilarious! Wei's mocking tone, palpable to everyone present. Char malice was clear. Curiously enough, we later met that mutt's owner, who looked equally wretched and just despicable as the dog. I heard the owner call it Go something, which sounded almost like Go. Go are homophones after all. I thought this stray dog and Ren were meant to be together. A buy it back for Renren. Renren wasn't deaf to Wei Hua's sarcasm. Her rustic style was something, but using her surname to humiliate her. Renren is no pushover. Deep your words are so crude, sister-in-law. You're clearly human. Why act like the Chen family's noble lapdog? That tied it, Bajaner. Oh, to have such a beast among us. Who slammed the table. Pointing at Renren, she snarled, Guaran. To die. If Wei Hua's words were smoldering coals, retort was the volcanic eruption. Possible to. Zhang Chenji was stunned by his young wife. He knew she was blunt and frivolous, but never imagined she'd go this far. Dare insult Wei publicly? As a beast, beside Wei Hua sat marriage. His face ashen, made his wife. The words were harsh, but he wasn't deaf. His wife had provoked this. This family squabbling is disgraceful. Law. I stay silent. Mayor Zhang shrewdly rebuked his wife. Zhang Chenji were wise. He'd admonish Renren for peace. Let this end here. But Zhang Chenju chose otherwise. He remained silent, wanting to see how far this girl would go. Dare give him nickname. Disturb his father at night, and openly insult Wei Hua. Will losing face. Turn furious. Washing basin. preparing to drench Ran. But Ran anticipated this and moved first. She stood up holding her hand basin, poured the water directly on Wei Yua's face, splashed at Mayor Jiang sitting nearby. Ran politely to Mayor Jiang, finally splashing you, Mayor Jiang, while matching speechlessness. A scream pierced the dining room from Wei Yehua, clapped her hand, calmly turned her seat. The Jiang family, an age difference, isn't inferior to yours. Zhou Jiang entered the dining room, immediately sensing the tense atmosphere. Elder-in-law, dinner with a wet, undried face. He demanded sternly from the head seat. Glanced at Wei, complained she wasn't the one at fault. Wei had provoked her first, set her foot angrily, then stormed out of the dining room. Seeing the situation escalate, turned to Ran for explanation. Law compared herself to the Chen resident. She's seemingly unstable. Cool her down. With some water? Just now. Perhaps she's regretting pairing herself to the Chen family's dog. Looked at Ran. Can't voice my grievances. Chenji observed his new bride. You quite a talent for storytelling? Watch her performance quietly. Exactly. Her addressed old master turned to his sons. Is what she said true? Change glances. Father, I'll check on Ehua. Mang stood up without the dining room. Jiang Chenji followed wordlessly, glanced around. Jiang remained at the dining table. So she stood up as well. Dime go after my husband. Chenji turned around. Awing me. Chenji, let's move out. Your house any long? In law. Possibly even your father into hospitalization. Chen is the desire to escape in the girl's eyes. Adam's Applebop, don't hospitalize me to anger anyone else. With that, he stood up and left to marry into the Jiang family. Why not thoroughly enjoy the Jiang family lifestyle? A smile curled on Chenji's lips. Old Mr. Jiang learned the details with a grim face. Did he really say that? The servant nodded. The words of Madame Wei and second young Madame. Dismissed. Clear the table. Dispersed. Leaving the butler by his side. Just when I start finding her likable. The next moment she does something detestable. Who just entered the family. No one else. The butler said, Master, I suspect something's amiss. Wei holds prejudice against second young Madame. She wouldn't stoop to humiliating her. She wouldn't casually make such degrading remarks. If she did, something must have provoked her. Perhaps some incident triggered her. Young Madame's fault. She directly insulted Madame Wei. That was indeed her perspective. Second Madame is a filial child. Piety. Course into marrying into the Jiang family. But Madame Wei's words insulted her family. Her anger is only natural. Fulton deserves scrutiny. I maintained their in-law relationship for over 8 years. 2 decades. He long regarded Weiwa as his own daughter. And for incident, attribute the fault to the newcomer Ran. After all, they believe their own child is at fault. Fortunately, the butler kept reminding him, Ms. Zhang, stay clear-headed. Mr. Zhang instruct, investigate what happened to Ehua, or what might have provoked her. Things she did today, and what was said, doubly instigating trouble. I will not let them off easily. The night no one in the Jiang family had dinner. Ran's stomach growled with hunger. Going downstairs for food would invite criticism. Dear hump, wait till tomorrow. Pad the sofa, using a blanket as bedding, cushion as a pillow, ready to lie down. The door opened. She bolted upright from the sofa. Chenji, why are you back tonight? Since getting back, she had never stayed in the bridal suite. Chenji gave her a surprised look, then glanced at the pristine bed. He asked, aren't using the bed. Oh, for masochistic. You're sleeping in bed. We already had an unpleasant wedding night. If I took the bed, forcing you the sofa, you'd probably throw me off the 3rd floor. I haven't noticed you being afraid of me. Then why fear being thrown from the floor? Business tycoon. Genuine confusion. I'm not afraid of you, but I fear losing limbs. 3-story fall. Or dilly. Even broken bones would be torture. Suddenly Ran rose from the sofa laughing. Hang Chenji, what's with your tone and implication? Are you saying you won't stay here at night anymore? In dreams Ran pouts. But actually come back to share the room with me. You're sharing the room. Explain this to your Yuner. And he wanted to tell Ran. Nothing between him and Gaillard. But then why she explained to her. Not seriously sleeping here. Jiang Chenji glanced at her. Without answering. Went straight to the room. Ran watched him leave. She angrily hit her own mouth. Stupid mouth. Why provoke him? Tonight is he? Yuck ya. Chenju sat on the bed reading seriously. Ran kept lying on the sofa watching him. Am I her head? Good looking, just somewhat handsome. Then why are you watching me? Ran curiously asked, why don't you sleep in the study? Why should I sleep in the study? But I'm in your bedroom. You're sharing the room with me. Tejna compromised. We're already on the same circuit. Tills try and protect. Well, just that. Ran bit her lip, but we had our 3 rules agreement. Does the agreement say I can't sleep in my own room? Seems not. Ran sat up straight. You're not planning to take advantage of me by deliberately sharing the room, you? Drop your girlish fantasies. I'm not interested in a kid. Gritted her teeth. What girlish fantasies could she have? Wanted to provoke Jiang Chenju into leaving and vacate the bedroom. Seeing she couldn't drive him away, she flopped back on the sofa with a sigh. Less in the future. A teasing remark brought Jiang Chenju. What a miscalculation. Feigning sleep. Chenju stopped their childish conversation. A resolute demeanor. A book in hand. Page-turning sounds echoed every few minutes. Like a lullaby's rhythm. Was nearly lulled to sleep. She found book sounds soothing with closed eyes. Next morning, descended stairs together. Pleaded, let's move out. Chenju. Every meal feels like torture. I'll think about it. Her hands tugged restlessly at his sleeve. Flattering tone, no need to think. Moving out brings only benefits. You hate enduring others' disdain. Being bound by rigid rules, right? No one dares slight me here. And rules don't confine me. Essentially, he refused to move, intentionally keeping Ran to endure Wei Ran was perceptive, instantly grasping his implication. Jiang Chenju, you're a man. My humiliation tarnished your honor. I don't mind. Old Jiang arrived late to dinner, prompting daughters-in-law's quarrel. Today he dared not be late. Another tardiness disrupt household peace. Thus Jiang hurried out punctually, encountering the newlyweds conversing. What's your discussion? Both turned heads synchronously, watching Jiang's approach. Gaze blocked on Ran's grip. Chenji looked down. the small hands clinging to his wrist, then slowly traced up her arms, made eye contact with Ran Ran. She suddenly realized Ran Ran had quickly withdrawn her hands. The hands behind her back, she said obediently. I didn't mean to. Chenju glanced at her coldly and walked away. Changed looks, old master. Chenju treating Fitiga, chase after my husband again. She ran quickly. With Jiang, Chenju got. Master Jiang watched them leave. Was I being ignored again just now? Avoided this life-threatening question, wisely changing to a more interesting topic. Stayed in the bridal chamber last night. Jusei, in surprise, Chiji spent the night with Ran Ran. The butler nodded. Now I understand. Master Jiang stared at where they had disappeared. Wonder Ran was holding Chenju's wrist earlier. That's how it is. At the dining room, Master sat head. Eyes repeatedly darted Ran Ran and Jiang Chenju. Ran Ran still chattering non-stop to Jiang Chenju, analyzing from moral perspective. Blaming plea to Jiang Chenju. The 8-chapter agreement would face severe condemnation. Sense collaboration. Chenju, were you listening? Ran whispered, we had that verbal agreement. One clause about moving out. You can't just ignore it, because it's verbal. Chenju said I agreed to move out, but I never went to move out. Was left speechless with anger, puffing up like a little puffer fish. Seeing her frustration, he looked at the girl and naturally smiled. Master Jiang's wide between Ran Ran and Jiang Chenju. Two were moving so fast, just one night together. Then Wei and her husband entered the dining room. Atmosphere vanished instantly by oppressive tension, humiliated the day before, and scolded by her husband that night, in deep resentment towards Ran Ran. Her approach? She mean it became guarded. No full well. Wei, who wouldn't miss a chance to humiliate her, sparkled with amusement, with interest the girl beside him, who had switched to battle-ready mode, no attempt to conceal, eyes directly with Wei Hua, adhering to harmony's importance, pressed his wife's hand under the table, her not to provoke, forced to restrain. The anger Wei became, Chenju doesn't love you at all. He loves ya. Previously enjoying the show, unexpectedly dragged in, his gaze sharp, glaring Wei Hua across the table. Oh, ignored old Jiang's darkened expression. Ran Ran calmly responded, if he loves her, why didn't my husband marry her? But he doesn't love her. Huff, and herself. Rentito, every reeks of cheapness. This family. You announced her best. Yummer. Like an ugly duckling versus a swan. Ran glanced at Wei Hua, finally settling on her wrist, eyeing the familiar bracelet. Cheap and you're noble. Unlike you. With a million bracelet. Those in no relax. The money came from my husband's earnings. Mother think brother-in-law embezzled it. Yes, old Jiang thundered. His eyes were bloodshot with anger at the two of them. In-law was middle-aged, yet utterly foolish. In-law was brash despite her youth, about whom he detested most. Other uttered treasonous words. Mayor Jiang's expression darkened too. Considering your young age, I'll let this incident slide. At his second brother. Keep your woman in check. Chenju was inwardly shocked, but maintained a calm facet. Coldly, same to you, elder brother. His teeth and ordered. No one shall speak in the dining room henceforth. When who speaks will be thrown out. As words fade, for who had spoken rose simultaneously. Rationalization. Exited the dining room together, angrily used his cane to sweep all dishes off the table. His hands trembled with rage. Ran Ran naturally followed Jiang Chenju. You saw this morning. You no peace in your house with me around. Chenju ran his tongue over his molars. Never imagined you dare say anything, so why not move out? Smirked wickedly. Anyway, you're angering them. Not me. Finished. Turned to leave for work. Remained on vacation. She watched Jiang Chenju depart. Her stomach growled again. Teresa drummed, door tight, and sat dejectedly on the sofa, pouted resentfully. Her eyes reddening. Her parents' experiences in the Jiang household. They'd undoubtedly take her away immediately. Tears rolled down her cheeks. However she got grieved she felt. I miss your braised pork meatballs. Chenju's meaning was clear enough. You won't leave this place. A good cry. And cleared her mind. Today is August Risotha. 12 days until school starts. Begins. Gain her freedom. Days were for keeping quiet. So she stayed in her room at the Jiang residence. Old Master Jiang and Wei Iowa. She thought she could keep avoiding them. But Wei Iowa humiliate her parents. Gu parents worried their daughter was suffering. Normally they called daily. But Ran couldn't be hearing their voices. Their voices made her choke up. So they decided to visit. Bringing expensive gifts. First visit. Mrs. Gelfelder worried about improper behavior, affecting their daughter's standing. Wei Hua noticed this in disdain. As the Jiang family matriarch, she received with superior eyes, looking down at the Gu couple. Seeing their gifts, she barely glanced, ordering servants to discard them. Gus wanted to see their daughter. Wei sent maid to fetch, but Ran heard nothing. Later she learned. Wei ordered pretend efforts. The middle-aged Gu couple, and social experience, wise expression, understood everything, told daughter wasn't home, left without drinking tea. Ran knew none of this, until she saw Wei in heels, kicking their gifts aside. While insulting them, Ran demanded, whose are these? Wei turned to see the clenched fist girl. Conceal. Shrimp gets like yourself. Even my servants scorn such gifts. Who else but your parents would send these? They missed, but I drove them away. Her eyes blazed crimson, clenched teeth. Did you say? Your parents missed you. Got an earful for me. Beaten dogs. Iran's fist smashed into Wei Hua's face. Blow sent Wei Hua sprawling to the ground.